Oi! Yes, it is Thursday. It's a little bit late for a balls deep breakdown, but we have got one going today. I was going to do it yesterday, had to get some other things out of the way, just didn't have time. But we got time today, and I want to go into a fight here that is a little bit interesting. One of the closer line fights on the card, as there are a lot of big favorites this week. But we've got Danaa Batgerel going up against Brandon Killer B Davis. It is going to be, I believe, the second fight of the night. Right down there on the card, but one of the first fights of the night. It's a closely lined fight. Maybe we can find some ways to make some money off of this one, you guys. So, yeah, and I got a haircut, by the way. My hair was like fucking halfway down my back, you guys. I hadn't had my hair cut for like over a year and a half or something like that since like before COVID started. So, finally got it cut. It's at a reasonable length now. So, we're going to change up the look a little bit here, you guys, but we're not going to change up the look of Balls Deep Breakdowns with me, your host, Uncle Weezy, and the co-host. Let's see if he's ready, because this guy is right 52% of the time, you guys. And when you're right that often in this game, it's pretty much legendary status. Ladies and germs, we got one smooth Jimmy Apollo here with you today. We got to talk about this fight. We got to talk to you guys in the chat. Let's see what you all have to say here. We got Cody Henderson kicking us off here today, saying Brandon Davis is about to end Batgerel's can crushing spree. And the last two, there's something I've been saying about this bantamweight division, man. If you don't belong here, it is just abundantly clear you're going to get starched in the first round. Like the 40th ranked bantamweight is a killer. So if you're one of these guys that just doesn't belong here in this division, it is a very, very bad place to be. It's a very harsh and mean place to be, and it's a hard place to stay alive because there's a lot of depth in this division. There's guys that are outside the top 15 that are just mowing people down right now. So, if you don't belong in this division, like we'll say maybe Natividad didn't, like we'll say that maybe the previous opponent before that didn't. Guido Canetti's 43 years old, I think, at this point, and so it's a rough place for guys that are really not supposed to be there. So Brandon Davis coming down from 145. So, he's going to be the much bigger guy in this fight. We'll see the stats when we look at the tail of the tape, you guys, but this is going to be an interesting fight. This is definitely a step up in competition from the last two opponents that Batgerel has had. And Brandon Davis, much bigger, fought the way better brand of competition here. So it's going to be a very interesting matchup. Big up yourself. Thank you for hanging out, Cody. We got Raw Torque saying this may end up being a 3-round snooze fest. Decision for Danaa. And we got Val Duar saying long hair king. Yeah, man, you should have seen how long it was before I got this haircut. I did not dare show anybody my hair for like the last 6 months. I look like I should have been playing bass in a speed metal band, you guys. It was really bad. It looked horrible, like 100% rat ass. So it was always tied back for you guys. Now I could still tie it back, but at least now it looks somewhat presentable, you guys. So let's we got DFS by the numbers saying Weezy with the haircut. Yeah, man, I got to get one haircut a year, whether I like it or not. And I actually got one. We got Andretti saying back again, lad. Got some good spots on this card, man. I got some good spots too, man. If you guys go follow me on betmma.tips at Uncle Weezy. Jesus, I've got a lot of bets on this card, you guys. I might be homeless if a couple of these guys do not come through this weekend, but we'll get to that a little bit later. And let's see, we got Dan Goldstein in the room, man, saying Uncle Weezy playing it fast and loose with the hair tonight, and I'm here for it. Dan, I'm here for you. Thanks for hanging out with us, man. It hasn't been the same without you lately, dude, and it's been good to see you in the last couple of Balls Deep breakdowns, man. Appreciate you here. We got Ja Young saying the man himself. We got Roy C saying, oi, oi, oi. That's right, Roy. Oi, Roy. And we got two saying Davis making us some money. And Davis is the plus money side here, you guys. So we'll see if we can find some reasons to like him here. We got Dan Goldstein saying Brandon Davis' last loss to Giga is far more impressive than Danaa beating the Social Security recipient Guido Canetti. Yeah, absolutely agree. And we got Kikaya Gagi saying, my man, Uncle Weezy, much love from Poland. Dude, much love to everybody over there in Poland, in Europe, in Oceania, in Africa, in Asia, in South America, in Central America, in Siberia. We don't care where you are, man. If you're here for MMA, you want to talk about MMA stats, I'm here for you, man. Thank you for checking out Kikai. I appreciate it. We got Roy C saying, oh, hello, a fellow R programmer. Dude, I am such an amateur R programmer, my man. I use it, but it's something that I could definitely use some help with. But R is fantastic, open source, free, and it has so many capabilities. When you're trying to analyze data, R is a great way to do that, and I need to get way better at it. But it's good to know that there are other people out here that know how to use R, because programming is hard, you guys. We got Chris Sanier saying Davis had a lot of great showings against what is now showing to be great competition on short notice in his last stint as well. You got that right, Chris. We're going to go over these strength of schedule stats that I always have for you guys here, because it's very important to check that out. That is one of the 5 key areas to look at, in my opinion. You look at the tail of the tape, the measurables. Those are one big part of it. I think the pro experience is another part of it. The grappling, the striking, and then you got to look at that strength of schedule, which is part of the experience as well. But also, I look at it because it's such an important metric to judge people by. I look at it on its own as well. But yeah, absolutely, man. This definitely is a strength of schedule. There is a difference in the level of competition these guys have fought, and the guys that are beating one Brandon Davis are very impressive fighters. And then we're going to take a look inside the stats at how Brandon Davis is losing in the UFC and how he's winning in the UFC. And I think it's going to be very interesting when we do that, you guys. I was looking at that. So let's see. Oh, and by the way, Dan Goldstein saying, let's hope we treat the bookie like Uncle Weezy's hair this fight and shave it. Yeah, man, there was a pile of hair on the ground, dude. You should have seen it. I could have donated a wig. I probably actually should have, because there was so much hair on the floor. But yeah, let's shave some bookie ass, you guys, this week. Let's hit them where it hurts this week. Let's really take some money and bring it into these pay-per-view cards that are coming up, that are stacked on November 6th and October 30th. And October 30th was switched from a pay-per-view to an ESPN Plus card. I think we've got an interim title on there and a title fight and some really great fights on the undercard. I can't wait to get into these. But you know what? It's Lad Dumont, and it may not be the best main event, and it may not be the most star-studded card, but it's another opportunity to make money. And when we see great spots, we got to smash them. And I'm smashing them this week. And Chris Sanier is saying Davis fights are never snooze fests. Yeah, and Davis is really exciting. That's for sure, man. And a great fight to do a balls deep breakdown on, Andretti says. And dude, my guy Billy Briz in the room. What up, Weezy? He's saying, what up, Billy Briz? Good to see you, man. I was on the Pub Sports Radio watch along for the last UFC event for the first couple of fights before I had to go out and start building grills and running errands. But yeah, it was really fun to be on there with you guys, Billy. I'm going to do it again soon. But big ups to my man Billy Briz from Pub Sports Radio. You guys, let's get into it here. Let's get these numbers up on the screen and see if we can't find some spots in this fight here, you guys. We've got Danaa Batgerel heading up against Brandon Davis. We see Brandon Davis 1 year younger here. He's going to have a 3-inch height advantage and a 2-inch reach advantage. Brandon Davis, as far as I know, coming out of Alan Belcher MMA and Team Tunga for Danaa Batgerel, fighting out of Mongolia. So we've got Brandon Davis has twice as much pro experience in terms of fights, you guys. He has got a 14-8 record as a pro, does Brandon Davis, while Batgerel is 9-2. Over twice as much, over 100 more minutes of cage time for Brandon Davis. And we've got an average fight time very similar for both of these guys, right around the 8-minute mark. And we've got a little bit longer as a pro for Danaa Batgerel. When we go back and we look at his resume from front to back, we're going to see that he has been fighting for about 10 years. But early in his career, he was just fighting once a year for about 4 or 5 straight years. Then he took about 2 years off, and now Batgerel has been a lot more. He's been a lot more active, a lot more, 2 to 3 fights a year over the last 3 years. So that's good to see. But we do see that Brandon Davis, 8 of his 22 fights at the UFC level, so over a third of his fights at the UFC level, while for Batgerel, it's just a little over a quarter of his fights at the UFC level. And Brandon Davis, about 105 minutes in the UFC cage in comparison to 18.85 for Danaa. So just a much higher percentage of his career at the highest level, for sure, in terms of minutes and in terms of fights. When we look at how these guys finish fights, we see that Danaa Batgerel, 56% of his wins coming by way of knockout, 22 by way of sub, so a 78% finish rate. That's 7 of 9 wins coming inside the distance, 5 by knockout, 2 by submission. And he has never been finished in his 2 losses. While Brandon Davis, 8 losses, he's been finished twice by submission, but he's never been knocked out. And Brandon Davis is a very equal opportunity winner, as he is winning 4 of his 14 wins coming by way of submission, 4 of his 14 wins coming by way of knockout, and 6 of his 14 wins coming by way of decision. Neither one of these guys has ever been knocked out, and Brandon Davis really not subbing anybody at the highest level. So we have to go back to the regional scene competition, whether it's in Gulf Coast MMA, which was where he was for his last 4 fights, or prior to his UFC Contender Series stint. That's where we're going to find the submissions for Brandon Davis. As a result of that, one of the bets that I'm looking at in this fight is the over 2.5, which is sitting at about -170, and the fight goes to decision, which is sitting at -145 right now. Brandon Davis is incredibly tough, you guys. This dude has got a rock hard chin, and Batgerel is a really tough fighter in his own right. You can go back and watch the fight against Haley Alatang for Batgerel. I think he had his orbital broken about 2 minutes into that fight. He never slowed down, and he never stopped coming forward. There's no quit in either one of these guys, and they're both incredibly tough. And neither one has ever been knocked out. But in 10 career losses for these guys, only 2 of those losses have come inside the distance. One of them was Magomed Shapirov submitting Brandon Davis by a Sulayev stretch. And I would have to look here at Brandon Davis's record to see what the other inside the distance loss was for him. But I'm guessing it was against high-level competition. It was a rear naked choke to Jorge Medina back in 2014, his second professional fight. So, yeah, and then even then, when you see the last 2 losses, you see that they're both split decision losses. So Brandon Davis, has been fighting very close fights for a long time now, and he's been very difficult to finish. So these overs and the fight goes for this fight is stuff that I'm probably going to have money on. I'm probably going to put somewhere between 1.7 or 1.4 and 2 units, spread it out between the over 2.5 and the fight goes. I think toughness is huge here. I don't think either one of these guys is a particularly gifted submission grappler to where we can see them submitting the other one. And Brandon Davis really not a knockout guy at this level. So I do see this going the distance, you guys. So I am going to be taking a hard look at that fight goes to decision and the over 2.5 here. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat before we get over to the striking grappling stats, you guys. We got Dan Goldstein saying the people's main event with the bonus of more cake than a French patisserie. You got that right, baby. And that's enough that this card is passable. It is, dude. Who doesn't like Norma Dumont? I mean, she's a fantastic gal. And if you're a man who likes cake, you're going to get a real treat on Saturday, you guys. I can assure you of that. We got Chris saying it's not Alan Belcher MMA anymore. It's American Top Team. Excellent. Thank you for that, Chris. The problem is these things do not get, like, for instance, let me just show you here. Brandon Davis, it'll probably show it as, yeah, head coach is still Alan Belcher here. And now it's saying American Top Team D'Iberville, Mississippi. Okay, got it. Because it's saying that's the primary, and then it was, all right. So he did change. It's just sometimes you get different looks. Yeah, because on SureDog it's still saying Alan Belcher MMA Club. So I'm gonna put it. I changed it to ATT D'Iberville. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate that, Chris. That's why I ask. That's why I do these things live, because sometimes we get, especially when it comes to the camp, we'll get conflicting information between SureDog and Tapology. So I will shift it there. Thanks for the heads up on that. And we got David in here saying, Uncle Weezy, bless yourself. NJ. Oh, dude, I appreciate that. Coming all the way from New Jersey. God bless you too, David. I appreciate it. We got Dan Goldstein saying Brandon Davis at the money line and Brandon Davis by Clint style 3rd round sub prop. Yeah, man, this could be, I love those 3rd round props, especially when we see a conditioning deficiency in one of the fighters. Those are the guys I try to bet against in the 3rd round. And both of these guys have got really good conditioning, not much quit in them, but I do think that if this fight does end, it's going to be a submission rather than a knockout, because Brandon Davis not a really, like a one-hitter quitter type of fighter, and Brandon Davis has never been knocked out either, and he's got a ridiculously iron chin on him. So I don't see Batgerel knocking him out either, especially after some of the square shots that Giga caught him with. And he was caught by Randy Costa a couple of times. He's absorbed some shots from some seriously hard-hitting dudes and doesn't even ever really look phased. So, yeah, this is a fight I do see going to decision, but those 3rd round props are juicy. We got Daz Files in the room saying, hi, everyone. It's good to see you, Daz. We got JSJ saying, Davis was one of those guys you just knew would work his way back to the UFC. Too talented for the regional scene. Yeah, and he went 4-0. On that regional scene, and one of them was a split decision, but he did get 2 finishes. So that's huge for him. I think it's a great bounce back spot for him against Batgerel, a guy that is somewhat one-dimensional. And we could see Brandon Davis kind of mix in that wrestling and that jiu-jitsu to try to win some minutes and bank some rounds here and potentially get a decision win. And JSJ saying, loving the new look. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, I just could not show you guys my hair until it was properly cut and at a decent length. Because I think a lot of you guys would unsubscribe to the channel. We got Daz Files saying, we've seen the hair. Now we would like to see a DJ gig along for Xmas, or at least show us some covers. Yeah, man, I've got a bunch of covers, dude. There's just a whole bunch. You know what the good covers are the Naked Music labels here that we got. These used to be up on the wall. This is one of my favorite record labels here. Naked Music NYC from back around the turn of the century. And there's just a bunch of hot house records on this label here. We got the Music and Wine by Blue Six. We've got, what is that? That's the True Love by Aqua Notes. We've got the Naked Music tracks. We've got the Jet Lag EP. We've got Breaking It Down by Pedal Pusher, one of the Miguel Miggs classics. We got Pure by Blue Six, all with naked ladies on the covers. One of my favorite record labels. Yeah, I'll show you guys all this stuff. And, this might be the week that I actually do some DJing late at night. If this card goes the way I hope it goes, because I've got over 10 units down, and several of them are on the same fights here. If I make a ton of money, I might get really drunk and just DJ for you guys for an hour, a celebratory. If the ass shaving of the week comes through and Julian Marquez gets this done inside the distance, if Manon Fiorot comes through, if a couple other little submission props and things that I got going come through, maybe I'll get on these turntables for you guys, and we'll play some music, and I'll show you guys my DJ chops. But what's more important is showing you guys my mixed martial arts prognostication chops, because that's how we all make money. That's how we all beat these bookies. So we got to get some reads on these fights, man. And we got Raw Torque saying could be a very technical fight. If it gets through the first round, it's going to be a point match, tit for tat. Endurance may come into play, especially with the weight cut drop. And that's something that we got to talk about because Brandon Davis has been bouncing back and forth between 135 and 145. He's going to be a huge bantamweight. So one of the things that we do want to look at here is how Brandon Davis is looking on those scales. If he comes in and he makes weight and he looks good on those scales, I might be putting a half unit on that money line for him. But I really do love the over in this spot. And we got JSJ saying the man knows his house music. Yeah, man, I do actually. Like I said, I got a ton of records back there. House music right around the turn of the century was just an amazing. There were just a lot of great producers around that time, a lot of great DJs, and I was right in the center of it here in Chicago, Illinois, with some of the best producers and DJs in the country. So yeah, it was it's something that's been a passion of mine. I have several passions in life. I'm not just a one-trick pony, but yeah, music is definitely one of my favorite things to talk about besides MMA. And we got Daz Files. Oh my God. So I hope we cash for you and everyone. Yeah, well, I hope we cash, man, because I might be crashing on my guy Brady's couch if fucking Julian Marquez loses this fight. Let's just say if Jordan Wright wins this fight by decision, I'm going to need help, you guys. I'm going to be out so many units. It's going to be terrible. I'm going to be the laughing stock of MMA Twitter. I said Jordan would get knocked out by a hot shower. Boy, people are going to be trolling me hard if fucking Jordan Wright wins this fight. So let's just pray. Let's just look up at Ja and say, Ja, please, if you're listening, help. Give me a Julian Marquez inside the distance, please. And we got to say, if Marquez KO's right, there will be a party at Weezy's. And that is correct. There will be a party at Weezy's. If we do get that inside the distance, Julian Marquez, man, we're going to be partying over here. And we got Danny Lopez saying, damn, day trader and a DJ, quiet, a man Weezy salute. I appreciate that, Danny. Yeah, man. And I used to work on the floor of the Chicago Stock Exchange as a specialist back in the day, right around the turn of the century. It was like, it was business by day, house music by night, not a lot of sleep, a lot of fun, a lot of money to throw around, man. Those were the days. And we got to GoFundMe for Weezy incoming if Wright gets the W. It would have to be Wright winning by decision, because if Wright even if he just gets the W, I could still actually come out ahead on that fight. I've got Wright by first round knockout at plus 1,300 for a quarter unit. And I also have the fight doesn't go to decision for 3 units. So even if Wright wins inside the distance, I could still make a ton of money on that fight. But if Jordan Wright wins that fight by decision, I'm going to need his shoulder to cry on. I'm going to be fucking broke. And let's see. I'll be dying on the Marquez Hill with Weezy if he fucks this up. Build the coffee for 2. Yeah, man, I hear you, dude. I think I'm not going to be, and I know I'm not the only one on this hill. I got in on Marquez at minus 210. He's like minus 250 on a lot of books right now. And I got in on the fight doesn't go to decision at minus 260. I see it at minus 400 in some spots. So it's not like, I'm kind of like going against the crowd here and that everybody, I'm really sticking my neck out there. I'm kind of, in the pocket here in terms of people, feeling like we've got a chance for Marquez to beat this guy inside the distance. I just hope he does it, man. And we got Raw Torque saying Knight needs to be KO'd, man. That dude is so unlikable. Dude, he's unlikable to me because he keeps fucking proving me wrong. I thought, Ike Villanueva was going to be too durable for him. Wrong. And then I thought Jamie Pickett was just going to be too durable for him. Wrong. And now here I am. I'm like, oh, this guy Marquez, he's just way too durable. So, this could be the Abdul Razak Al Hassan situation where I'm just crying in my beer because this guy's going to prove me wrong, not once, not twice, but thrice. And your Uncle Weezy's going to be crying. But anyway, yeah, coffee or cough in. Yeah, dude. Well, we'll build that coffin for 2 because if Wright wins this by a decision, I'm fucked. But you know what? Let's get back to this Batgerel Davis fight. So let me zoom in on these stats for you guys at 150% here. And let's get to these striking stats. So Danaa Batgerel has looked really good on the feet. 5.78 significant strikes landed per minute and only 2.65 absorbed. 39% striking accuracy. He has 2 knockdowns and only 109 significant strikes landed for 1.83% knockdowns per total significant strikes landed. Excellent. And 1.59 knockdowns per 15 minutes. Brandon Davis throwing a lot of volume, but not quite as much as Batgerel here. 4.65 landed, 4.33 absorbed, 35% striking accuracy, and no knockdowns. Excuse me. Got to keep wetting my whistle here for you guys. So yeah, 35% striking accuracy, no real power for Brandon Davis, and that's in a pretty good sample size of 8 UFC fights, you guys. So that's something we do have to be aware of. But we've got on the defensive side, both of these guys pretty good defensively. Almost 61% striking defense for Davis, 58.33% for Batgerel. But it's just crazy. The volume, Batgerel throwing 14.75 significant strikes a minute, and his opponent's only throwing 6.37, so a lot more volume. And when we see these guys on the feet, Batgerel is an orthodox striker. He does throw. His power hand is his right hand, and he throws that a lot. But what we've seen the power from is the check left hook of Danaa Batgerel. That's what he knocked out Canetti with, and that's what he knocked out Natividad with. I don't think either one of those guys saw it coming. It was perfectly placed right on the chin, and it just took their feet right out from underneath them in both occasions. So Batgerel has shown some really good power, and even though he does throw that right hand like the power hand, it's the check left hook, it's the counter left hook that Brandon Davis is going to have to look out for. The good thing about that is that Brandon Davis is also an orthodox fighter. So we could see him blocking with his left hand. We could see him defending fairly well. I really liked seeing what he was doing in terms of Batgerel when he was fighting the lefty Canetti. He was really standing, keeping his foot outside of his opponents and throwing that right down the middle. And he caught him coming in with that left hook. Really good form on it, and a lot of power on that check left hook for Danaa Batgerel. While Davis is going to be the much longer guy, so at least he's going to be able to, if he doesn't throw his head forward when he's striking, he should be able to hopefully, stay away from that check left hook. Maybe he could throw a lot of leg kicks. He's got the longer length, so maybe he can work from outside a little bit more than some of the shorter guys that we've seen Batgerel fight. Natividad, not a big bantamweight. Guido Canetti, I think, even fought some at flyweight, but he's not a big bantamweight by any stretch of the imagination, and neither is Alatang. So, Brandon Davis, a natural featherweight for all practical purposes, is going to be the biggest opponent that Danaa has fought. So Brandon Davis is going to have to be very careful about coming in or being countered by that left hook of Batgerel. But if he can keep that away from him, I think he's going to have a lot of success on the feet here. And then we have to talk about the grappling stats as well, because one thing we haven't seen from Batgerel is any kind of an offensive wrestling attack. But we do see that from Brandon Davis. Not what I would call a prolific wrestling attack from Davis, but he is using it. Not getting a ton of control time, though, unfortunately, but he can mix in the wrestling to win points, to win minutes. And because I think this fight is going to decision, I think volume is going to be important. I think pressure is going to be important. And I think minute winning is really of the utmost importance when we're trying to figure out who's going to win this fight. If you see a fight like, for instance, the Wright Marquez fight that right now has a minus 400, fight doesn't go to decision line. It's not as important to worry about who's going to win the minutes, because if you think that this, if the implied probability is telling you that 80% of the time this thing finishes inside the distance, what you want to be more worried about is durability and finishing power. Both of these guys have finishing power. Marquez has way more durability than Jordan Wright. So even though I think Jordan Wright can win minutes and bank rounds, and if he wants to wrestle, he could potentially have some success there, the odds are telling us that this thing only goes to decision 1 out of 5 times, so I'm really not worried about minute winning. But here we're looking at a minus 145 fight goes to decision, so they're saying it goes the distance 60% of the time. We have to be really worried about who's going to win the minutes here. And you can win minutes with wrestling. You can win minutes by getting takedowns and banking a little bit of top control. And you can win minutes with volume and accuracy. And those are all things that I can see Brandon Davis doing well on the feet. Getting takedowns, entering in on good takedown attempts, and also using his distance striking and volume to outdo Batgerel. Because Batgerel's opponents have been historically low volume, only offering 6.37 significant strike attempts per minute. So let me get this up here. That way we can maybe get a few more stats on the page. There we go. Okay, so we see that Danaa Batgerel has only shot 1 takedown thus far in the UFC, while Brandon Davis has shot 11 of them in 8 fights, and he's gotten 5 of them. So he's averaging under 1 takedown per 15 minutes, but only getting 6.05% control time. So Brandon Davis has been in the cage about 105 minutes. At 6%, he's gotten about 6 minutes of control time on 5 takedowns. So this is not a guy who takes you down and then holds you there for 3 rounds working for submissions. He, gets the takedowns at a fairly high percentage, but he does not accrue a lot of control time. Danaa Batgerel has shown 57% takedown defense thus far in the UFC, successfully defending 4 of 7 takedowns, while Brandon Davis has had a lot of takedowns shot on him. He's shown only 56% takedown defense thus far in the UFC, and he's being taken down 3.43 times for 15 minutes, while Batgerel is being taken down 2.39 times per 15 minutes. Batgerel being controlled at a 15% clip, but that's in only 7 takedown attempts in 3 fights against. But Brandon Davis is getting like 7 takedown attempts against him per fight, but he's still only being controlled less than a quarter of the cage time, which is pretty good, considering that he's being taken down 3.43 times per 15 minutes. But there are some important numbers here in the advanced stats that I want to show you guys when it comes to these numbers. Okay, so let's start here on the Brandon Davis side, and I want to look at the fights that Brandon Davis has lost. Okay, so we see a loss here to Giga Chikadze, we see a loss to Kyung Ho Kang, a loss to Zabit, a loss to Enrique Barzola, and a loss to Kyle Bochniak. When we add up those 5 records, we see that the guys that are beating Brandon Davis have a combined record of 27-11 in the UFC. Only Kyle Bochniak has a losing record. And if you throw out the Bochniak fight, you're talking about a 25-6 record in the most 4 recent losses for Brandon Davis. So he's really only losing to top level competition. But there's another layer of it, you guys, that I want to point out. And let's go over here to the defensive side of the numbers. Now we can see here he got 3 of 7 takedowns in one of these fights, 1 and 1 here, 0 of 0, 0 of 1, 1 of 1. He doesn't have any knockdowns. He's getting out controlled in basically every fight except for the Giga Chikadze fight. But if we look with the exception of the Chikadze fight, you guys, and I want you to pay attention to these numbers right here. These are the takedowns that his opponents have shot and the opponent and how many they've gotten. And these are in the losing fights. He lost to Giga Chikadze, was taken down once out of 2 attempts there. But we all know Chikadze is a striker. We got Ho Kang, took him down 3 out of 6 attempts. We see that Zabit took him down 6 out of 7 attempts. We saw in this fight here, I forget who this is. This is the Barzola fight. Barzola was 10 of 15 on his takedown attempts. And we see here the first loss was the Kyle Bochniak one, 3 of 15 on his takedown attempts. So if we add up those numbers, you guys, we'll see that in the losing efforts, his opponents were 23 of 45 on their takedown attempts in his 5 losses. Look at all those takedown attempts against, with the exception of the Giga Chikadze fight. We know Giga is just an elite striker, and that took place at 145. We see that the recipe to beat Brandon Davis has been to shoot takedowns early and often and get them. In the 3 fights that he's won, which are the white columns here, or the white rows, first fight, 0 of 0 on takedown attempts. A fight that he won, his opponent shot 10 takedowns, but only got 1 of them. That was Steven Peterson. And in the Randy Costa fight, Costa shot no takedowns. So in the 3 fights that Brandon Davis has won in the UFC, his opponents are 1 of 10 on their takedown attempts. So this looks like the type of fight in an opponent like Danaa Batgerel for Brandon Davis, where he's going to be at his most comfortable. He's not going to be defending 10 takedown attempts in this fight. He's not going to be defensively grappling in this fight. He's going to be striking at range where he has at least a 2-inch reach advantage, a 3-inch height advantage, and a big size advantage, and a ridiculous chin. So I think that this is going to be a place where you want to avoid laying this kind of juice that you have to lay on Danaa Batgerel here, because we can clearly see that in the fights that Davis is losing, 37, 43, 45, he's facing 9 takedown attempts per fight that he loses. In the ones that he's winning, he's facing about 3 takedown attempts, and he's only been taken down 1 time in the 3 fights that he's won. So at Brandon Davis at plus money feels like a good bet here. And then let's look at the numbers that we got for Mr. Davis's opponent, which is going to be Batgerel here. And, we see Batgerel getting 2 first-round wins against Natividad and Kennedy. The combined records of them in the UFC is 2-7, and then the loss to Alatang. And he threw 230 strike attempts against Alatang, and Alatang only threw 89. So he definitely outvolumed Alatang, but Alatang got 3 of 7 takedown attempts in the third, winning that third round, and he landed the much bigger strikes in the first round. So this was definitely a situation where it was a very close fight, but Batgerel did lose the third and did lose the first. He lost that fight by unanimous decision, but he was out-controlled 171 seconds to 6. So, we could potentially see Brandon Davis, win some rounds, or win a round or 2 potentially by mixing in some wrestling and getting a little bit of top control. And we saw Alatang have some success there against him. And we haven't really seen Alatang go back to that wrestling since. So, this is definitely a path there. And if we look at the strength of schedule numbers here, now that we've kind of like looked at the individual numbers and how these guys are winning and losing fights, we can take a look at the ratios that I have for you guys in the last 5. And we're going to see that Brandon Davis has a ratio of 1.56, while Batgerel has a ratio of 0.5. So the average Danaa Batgerel opponent only has 3 UFC fights and a losing record of 1-2, while Brandon Davis's opponents on average have 5.75 UFC fights and a winning record of 3.5 and 2.25. Now, Danaa Batgerel's opponents that he's beaten have a 1 and 2.5 record on the aggregate, so a losing record. But for Brandon Davis, it's also a losing record, just a little more experienced of an opponent and less of a percentage of a losing record, and an average record of 2 and 2.33 for the guys that Brandon Davis has beaten. But then when we look at the guys that Davis has lost to, it's guys with a 2-to-1 win-to-loss ratio in their records, 22 wins, 11 losses. And we know that's actually 27 wins and 11 losses, but we had to throw out those 5 wins that they got against Davis. So a 2 win-loss ratio, much better opponents. So Brandon Davis, in my opinion, has the tail of the tape advantage. He has the experience advantage here, you guys. He's got the strength of schedule advantage. And guess what? He goes to the grappling more, and he's more likely to try takedowns and accumulate control time. Not much control time, but it might be just enough to win a greasy decision here, while Batgerel throwing more volume, having a better landing to absorbing rate and being just as good defensively, I would give Batgerel the striking advantage here. But he's going to be at that 2-inch reach disadvantage, 3-inch height disadvantage. Everything's kind of shaping up here for Brandon Davis having the value for plus money here. So let's see what you guys are looking at. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Okay, let's see. All right, and we saying Dan Goldstein saying Wright's face is on the Mount Rushmore for punchable faces, up there with Tito Ortiz. Yeah, dude, I agree, man. I really want to see him get punched in the face and put out, not in a bad way. I don't want to see Jordan Wright hurt or injured or bad things happen to him. I respect everybody that steps in this cage, but guess what? I got a lot of money on Marquez, and I don't plan on losing it. So let's have Marquez finish this inside the distance here, man. But I'm with you there, Dan. I'm definitely there. And Rod Torek saying true, and Dan Goldstein saying the power of that check left could be stat padded. It put out a never was and a grandpa. Yeah, I know, but they were clean. They were absolutely clean. And the punch that hurts you the most, Dan, is the one that you don't see coming. And that's the danger of a lead fast counter left hook, is that you don't see it coming, and if it gets you right there, you wake up looking at the lights wondering what happened. And Danaa has the ability to land that punch, so we have to be careful of that. He has shown that power, but yeah, the opponents he landed against, not on Brandon Davis's level by any stretch of the imagination. And Wright is the same as Biff Tannen in the Back of the Future. He does. He looks like that dude. That's a pretty good analogy there, Torque. We got Tiffany Shriver saying, Uncle Weezy just tuned in. Your new haircut looks fantastic. Thank you for all your hard work. You break down fights like no one else. Thank you, Tiffany. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I was telling these guys when I first started, the stream today, that my hair was so long and it looked so bad. Looked like 100% rat ass. So I could not let you guys see my hair down until I got it properly cut. So thank you for that, Tiffany. I appreciate it. We got Nick Odd saying, what up, Unc? Dude, what's up, Nick? Thanks for hanging out here. We got Papa Placid Penis in the house, ladies and gentlemen, saying, big fan, Unc. Didn't know you had a YouTube channel, but definitely gave a subscribe. I appreciate that, man. That's awesome. And I want to big up all my subscribers, all the guys and gals who watch the channel. Thumbs up the videos, subscribe to the channel. It means so much to me. It's humbling to see how many people have subscribed to the channel recently and how many people are watching the live streams. I'm just going to keep working harder and harder for you guys to try to give us some spots that we can try to make some money off of these bookies. So I appreciate that, Papa. Thanks for checking in, man. We got Tristan in the house. Let's go, Davis. Let's go, Tristan. Appreciate you hanging out with us. And we got Raw Torque saying at Uncle Weezy is the coolest dude to break down all the cards. Breath of fresh air. Weezy is the Matthew McConaughey of MMA. All right. I love that. Thank you, Raw Torque. And we got DFS by the number saying Davis line still makes no sense to me. Weezy, what are your thoughts on the line? Yeah, it like I said, man, Brandon Davis is going to have the measurables advantage. He's got the experience advantage. He's fought a higher percentage of his career at the UFC level. He's fought the tougher competition over the course of his career, and he's more likely to go to the grappling in a successful way and mix that in order to win minutes and win rounds. This is a fight that Vegas is telling us is going to go to the scorecards, so we do have to side with the person that has the better chance to win minutes. And on the feet, I think it's close with Brandon Davis having that size advantage, having the advantage of having struck with guys like Zabit and Giga, and actually, that Giga fight was called a draw initially. Now, it wasn't a draw. Giga won easily 2 out of those 3 rounds. He deserved to win the fight, and he did. Giga did win that fight. It was later called a win for Giga. It was somehow a mistake. One of the judges had it 29-29, which is mathematically impossible. So, according to the unified rules of MMA scoring. So it was later put back to Giga. But, Danaa Batgerel's striking is not on the level of Zabit Magomed-Shapirov or Giga Chikadze at this point. And both of those guys are way, way bigger than Batgeri. So yeah, I think Brandon Davis could potentially win some minutes on the feet here. But I think he can also win minutes on the ground and with his wrestling, and even just by being the guy that's pressuring and being the guy that's shooting takedowns. So yeah, getting him at plus money here looks like a good spot. I think I'm going to get on that, and I also think that I'm going to be getting on the fight goes to decision here at a around minus 145, minus 150. I think that's a 1.5 units to win one spot. Both of these guys are very tough. Both of these guys, I think their only path to a finish is a submission, because Danaa Batgerel is a great knockout artist, but Brandon Davis, you can hit him in the face with a shovel and he's going to just smile at you. So, yeah, I do like this fight to go to decision as well. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the line, DFS by the numbers. I'm with you, man. I like Brandon Davis here. And we got Bunkhoot saying, "Sup, Weezy? What's up, Bunkhoot? Thanks for checking in." We got Dan saying, "I thought that line would tighten up like the Ladd versus Dumont line, but it stayed at like plus 250 this whole time." Yeah, that's kind of weird, isn't it? But that's all right. Um, the recency bias, when you got two flash knockouts in a row for Batgerel, you would expect him to be because that's what people remember. They remember, oh wow, two flash knockouts, two impressive inside the distance wins. But these guys, Natividad and Canetti, are not on Brandon Davis's level. And yeah, big brain sup. Weezy is like the Patrick Swayze for Point Break, robbing bank. Yeah, dude, let's rob the bookies, though. Let's rob the bookies and do it legally. No guns, just winning picks. We're going to stack those winning picks like flapjacks, rob the shit out of the bookies, and then they can come to us for jobs after we put them out of business. That's the dream, baby. That's how we got to do this. And Dan Goldstein saying, if the Wolf of Wall Street and the dude from the Big Lebowski produced Offspring, that's the level of cool and smart that Uncle Weezy is. That is high praise right there. I'm a big fan of the dude. And I'm a big fan of the Wolf of Wall Street. That was hilarious, and I lived some of those moments back in my youth, you guys. I got some stories to tell. Maybe one of these days I'll tell you some of them. And we got Cody saying, "We hear every week, Weezy. Mad support for Unc. I appreciate that, Cody." And we got my guy Chris in the room saying, "Unc, just saw the notification, mad late, always grinding, respect." Also, yeah, I'm taking a stab at Davis and Klein in a two-legger or just him straight money line. I don't like parlaying underdogs, but when you do and you hit, man, it's a nice win. It really fattens up that return on investment when you're parlaying underdogs and hitting it. It's just, it's hard to do. Parlays are already bad ideas just because of how much money Vegas makes on them in comparison to the people that are actually betting them. So, but if you can hit it, man, good on you. But I would just put a half unit on that money line because I think there's value in it. And we got Nick saying, "Uncle Weezy, my friend, how are you doing this evening? I hope that you are doing well and you all hit that like button. All is well here, man. I'm talking mixed martial arts with you guys. And what could be better, dude? Everything is fantastic." And we got Lars Bogelin Jesperson, a nice Scandinavian name there, saying cage time in the last 2 years. But Brandon, 35 minutes, 31 seconds, and Danaa Batgerel, 3 minutes, 51 seconds. Another situation where we're talking about the experience advantage there for Brandon Davis. 22 fights to 11 and 187 minutes in the pro cage as compared to only 79 for Danaa. And Danaa, prior to the UFC, fighting on that Asian regional scene, which is, just okay. You see a lot of these guys from the Asian regional scene coming into the UFC and pretty much getting dusted. So yeah, man, that's a really great point, Lars. Thanks for checking in, man. Appreciate that little stat information there. And we got Jack Attack in the room saying, "I'm late, but I'll catch the replay. Though this one is definitely tempted with the dog." Yeah, well, I think we all are here, Jack. I think we're kind of on the same page. We got Asphalt. Let's go. What's up, Asphalt? Good to see you. And Raw Torque saying, "Weezy, LOL, no guns. Let's get our money the right way." Too cool. We got Chris saying, "Was thinking like 0.25 on the two-legger or 0.5 on the money line." Yeah, that works, dude. Those are either way, man. I think that's a good way to attack it, Chris. David saying, "Skip class to watch the breakdown." Great work, Weezy. Thanks, Dave. I appreciate that, man. I'd tell you to go to class and like, hey, stay in school, but I'd be a fucking hypocrite if I told you that, man. I was the king of skipping class in college, man. The first time through college, I dude, there were classes I just got F's in. I just never showed up, dude. I was such an asshole my first time through college. But make sure you get the notes from one of your buddies there and catch up on it, man. But appreciate you hanging out with us here, David. Rod Torque saying, "Damn, Weezy, I'm convinced Davis is now my play." And Danny Betts in the room. What's up, Danny? Good to see you, brother. Good to see you, man. One of the greats over at Pub Sports Radio, Danny Betts. Go check him out on Twitter. Go check him out on PSR. One of the OGs. Good to see you in here. And we got the general in the room as well. So let's look, you guys. Let's look at the lines here on this fight. So let me refresh this and see where we're at. So we got Brandon Davis. Man, he's sitting right around plus 150 here, man. I like it. I might have to put down like 2/3 of a unit to win one on the Brandon Davis money line. And then when we look at, first of all, I do like this fight to go to decision. So I think one of the ways that we can fatten up these lines, you guys, especially on the Brandon Davis side, is to look at the Brandon Davis by decision prop, because Brandon Davis by decision is plus 300 right now on Bet Online. The best we can get is plus 310. The worst is plus 275. But man, 0.25 on Brandon winning by decision, and then maybe like 2/3 of a unit on the Brandon Davis money line puts us in for just under a unit. And if Brandon Davis wins by decision, we're getting 1.75 units back. It's like a 2-to-1 payoff. So that'd be one way that I'd be looking to play this. Also, I told you guys, I like at minus 145, the fight goes to decision. And I like also at over 2.5 at minus 170, just in case you get those last minute finishes of what, if it winds up being a real war and we see somebody completely empty the gas tank. Those are bets that I like, because Batgerel, he's not knocking out Brandon Davis. If he knocked out Brandon Davis, I'd be absolutely shocked. And anybody out there in the chat that has watched the tape on Brandon Davis in the UFC, you'd have to be shocked if this guy got knocked out, man. He's taken square shots from some of the hardest hitters in the featherweight division and not even blinked. So, and I think he's only been knocked down once, you guys, in 8 UFC fights. So, if Batgerel got 3 knockouts in a row, the third being against Brandon Davis, I would be really surprised. But, Brandon Davis is cutting down to 135, and we got to be careful for these guys when they do cut down. So that's going to be an interesting thing to look at, but I'm still casting my lot. I think I'm going to be putting 1.5 units on the fight goes to decision here at minus 145 to try to win a unit. But yeah, and then let's see. Yeah, so Davis by decision at plus 300 is something that I think I'm going to be looking at as well. I might just go right there for a half unit and try to win 1.5, because that is juicy to me. That's how I see Brandon Davis winning this fight. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat here. Let's see. We got Asphalt saying, I can't. This is why we call him Uncle. We got Dan saying, just so that I don't step on my sub prop bet, I might double down on the 3rd round decision prop. Yeah, that's not a bad idea, because then you could cover the fact that maybe he gets that submission in the 3rd round if it winds up being a war, because both these guys are warriors. This could be a great fight. And there could be a lot of big shots landing here. Jack Attack saying Brandon is huge at bantamweight. I'd be surprised if he got knocked out too. Yeah, man, I'd be really, really shocked. And then Dan saying, I'm not convinced a small caliber bullet would knock down Davis. Dude's tougher than a $2 steak. He really is, man. He's that tough. And yeah, that's why I love this decision bet, because not only, do we have 10 career pro losses between the two of these guys, only 2 of them have come inside the distance. So, if you were to handicap it, you'd be getting like minus 400 at that implied probability. We're getting it at minus 145. So I think it's a great bet. And and then Danny saying most likely playing Davis by decision, depends what line I get. Well, you can get plus 300 right now, Danny, on Bet Online, and I think just about everywhere else too. It looks like DraftKings might be plus 275. Is that no? That's William Hill. You can get it at DraftKings right now. The Davis by decision is plus 300. You can get it plus 300 on Bet Online. You can get it plus 310 on 5 dimes. So that's probably going to be the way I'm going to do it. And then let's see. We got JP saying, I would say the 4-0 run by Davis couldn't compare to even Danaa 2-0 run. Yeah, it's a 4-0 run on the regional scene. One of those wins coming by a split decision. Another win coming over a guy with 27 losses in Ray Trujillo. So, yeah, JP, I'm with you there, man. I mean, the last 4 wins by Brandon Davis have not been impressive. They have been regional scene wins, but it's the losses that Brandon Davis is, the guys that are beating him in the UFC that are just much higher level. They're featherweights. And I don't see Danaa finishing those guys, don't see him finishing Brandon Davis here. So yeah, I think it's going to be a close fight. So that's why I like Davis at plus 150 rather than laying the juice on a guy like Batgerel, who doesn't go to the wrestling, who I think I'm going to have to count on him winning the minutes here and winning enough minutes to win a clear decision at minus 175 on the money line is just too much for me to give up. But I do see what you're saying. I agree with you, JP. I think that's a great point. Cody saying I like the Davis money line and over 2.5. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I like both of those bets, Cody. Absolutely. Those have got the Uncle Weezy seal of approval. Give me my best 2-run parlay, says Raw Torque. I like, if you don't mind it being just a little bit chalky, Raw Torque, I would say the fight doesn't go to decision for Marquez Wright. And then I would say the Manon Fierro money line. I'm a big fan of Manon. I've got 2 units on her money line, and I've got a 2-unit parlay where I've parlayed her with the Marquez money line. Got it much earlier in the week. I got her at minus 195, I think. But yeah, Manon Fierro, I think wins this fight going away. She's shown 80% striking defense against lower level competition, but I think she's just going to be way better on the feet than Mayra Bueno Silva, and I think she'll be able to maintain distance, and I think she's going to really work the body and legs, and I don't see Mayra having much left in the 3rd round of this fight. So Lars saying Brandon Davis was a favorite against. Yes, he was. He was a favorite against Giga Chikadze. That's crazy, but he was, and he fought well. It was a fairly close fight. He won that 3rd round, I think. But yeah, he did get. The thing that sucked, Brandon Davis would have won that fight because he took down Giga in the 1st and was on top of him, and he got a little bit sloppy. Giga reversed him and then ground and pounded him for a good minute, and that wound up being the difference in the round. If Brandon Davis could have maintained top control, if he didn't get sloppy there, he would have won that round and probably won the fight. But yeah, absolutely. He was a favorite against Giga. And Dan saying, the only thing that's worrying me about Davis is the fact we were all on Davis. Yeah, and the line really hasn't moved that much. So there are some people who are seeing good reasons to be on Batgerel here. And Batgerel could absolutely win minutes if this stays on the feet and land the bigger shots. So, but, I just think it's there's a lot of reasons just in the statistics to like Brandon Davis here. And, Danny Betts saying facts. And we got PayPal, my money DFS in the room saying Danaa got gifted 2 of the chinniest 135ers we've ever seen and has a padded China record in his other wins. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying, bro. I'm with you there. This is a step up for him. This is a lateral step to a small step up it's a step up from the Gulf Coast MMA competition that Brandon Davis was beating in order to get back into the UFC, but it's a step down over the guys that this dude has been fighting. Randy Costa, Zabit, Barzola, Giga. These guys are much better than Danaa Batgerel, much bigger and much more dangerous strikers. So yeah, 100% with you there, PayPal. And agreed, PayPal. One of those beats was elder abuse, illegal in most states. That worries me too, says PayPal. Thank you. Great play. Parlay, like me some Manon. Yeah, Manon is the woman. I'm a big Manon fan. I think she's going to open a lot of eyes. And I think if she handles this win over Mayra Bueno Silva with class and does it, running away and looking really dominant, I think we're going to see her in that top 10 getting really marquee fights. I mean, we're going to see her in with Chukagian soon, in with Jessica I soon, in with some of these ladies that have fought everybody in the division. And then we're going to really see, what she's capable of. And it starts Saturday for Manon because Mayra Bueno Silva is fantastic. She's really, really good. It's just that I have such a high opinion of Manon that I really, really think that she's going to, own the striking exchanges here. And Mayra Bueno Silva has attempted 0 takedowns in 5 UFC fights. So as long as this stays standing, I just think it's going to be really difficult for Silva to find success against somebody as defensively proficient as Manon. And then Jack Attack saying Giga Brandon was called a draw initially, and then it was changed 30 minutes later. I remember watching live. It was bizarre. I just watched that back, Jack Attack. The third judge had it 29-29. What, did somebody get an 11 in one of these rounds? I don't understand how the hell that happens. How can you fuck up adding up 3 numbers that are either a 10 or a 9? Grown men going, die. I think it's 29-29. How the hell did that happen? That was so weird. It's just, yeah, I don't get it. But anyway, that did happen. It was very strange, but that was Giga's fight. It was Giga's fight. Chris saying, fully agree about Manon. Her opponent won't be catch wrestling her. Wouldn't shock me if Manon looks like a minus 400 after round 1. And I am right there with you, Chris. Cody saying most people I've seen aren't on Davis. Yeah, and I understand it. I get it. Danaa is a great striker, So, and we got PayPal saying UFC had too much invested in Giga to let him lose to Davis. Yeah, but he won that fight. Giga won that fight. He won the first, and he won that second round pretty damn clearly. It was the third round that Davis got some top control time, got a couple takedowns, and Giga tends to fade late. I have her on the same bet placed early this week, 2.2 to win 100. Also a few 2-leggers, including one with Marquez. Yeah. And minus 50 social credit score for that one. And we got Dan Goldstein. Manon is number 1, is 1 pubic hair away from a title shot in that division, as shallow as it is. Well, she'll have to get a couple more wins over, like Chukagian level opponents, Jessica I, Lauren Murphy, Calderwood. She's gonna have to fight somebody that's had more fights than Mayra Bueno Silva has in order to take that next step. It would be after last weekend's card, what I think should happen will be a very interesting fight. If Manon fights very well here against Silva, I think putting her up against Maria Agapova would be a fire fight. I think that would be really exciting. Agapova, huge for the division, has really sharpened up her striking. She looked really, really good on Saturday, you guys. And yeah, I think that would be a very interesting fight if Manon gets this win. Yeah. And we got Chris saying she's too technical, has good output on the feet and more power without a doubt. Yeah, no doubt about it, man. Yeah, that was horrible, Danny. 10 plus 10 plus 9 equals what? 10 plus 9 plus 9 equals what? And we get that wrong. But yeah, thinking of parlaying Carnelossi and Lupita, nothing heavily, but have really strong leans on them. Danny, I'm not on Carnelossi this weekend. I'm not betting Estela Nunez either, but I don't like her at this current line for Carnelossi. Carnelossi right now is minus 157. That's like a 61% implied probability, somewhere around there. And if this fight stays standing, I think it's a 50-50 fight. So I personally wouldn't parlay Carnelossi, but if you got a strong feeling, you got to do what you think is right. But yeah, Lupita Lupita is going to be much smaller here. I don't think I'm laying that juice on Lupita either, with an 8-inch reach disadvantage, up a weight class on 4 days' notice, having just fought on Saturday. I'm not going to be betting Lupita either, but God damn, did she look good on Saturday. She absolutely destroyed Juarez. And that was really an eye-opening performance, in my opinion. So, go ahead and parlay them up if that's what you're feeling, brother, because that's what we got to do. We got to trust our leans. And Chris saying, agree, Manon and Agapova could be insane stylistically. I'd bet the under all day. Yeah, man, for sure. I would bet the under in that one as well. And that Carnelossi fight is getting an inside the distance bet just because the first fight things. Yeah, those first fights, they always finish. But you know what? I think we're about finished here, you guys. I think we got through all the stats here. I think we got through the bets that we like. We're at an hour and 5 minutes because you guys are absolutely killing it in the chat. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I got a dog to walk right now. So I'm going to get back to business here. I'm going to have the statistics ready for Stat Diggers on Sunday. I'll have them ready by tonight, you guys. Holler at me on Twitter if you want to get an early start on next week's research. I'll shoot you a link to the statistics, which should be done at some point tonight, maybe around midnight. But I'd like to thank all you guys for hanging out in the chat. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, do that. Leave a thumbs up on your way out if you don't mind. And I will be seeing you on Saturday on DFS by the Numbers channel, 1 hour before the prelims start for Best Bet. And I will see you on Sunday night on Pub Sports Radio for Stat Diggers. Guys and ladies, good luck on all your action for UFC Vegas 40. Let's get some money back off of these bookies. Let's stack these cash tickets like flapjacks. Good luck, everybody. I'll talk to you guys soon. I appreciate all the love and support. And let's make some money on UFC Vegas 40.